I am Jack Antonoff from Bleachers, here with BuzzFeed to read thirst tweets. Let me just tell my mother I'll be back. Should we get my mother into this? Would that be like a Freudian nightmare, an Oedipal nightmare? Which is the one that I'm thinking of? All sort of philosophers and whatnot aside, it would be a nightmare to have my mother read these. So let's jump in. I think I'm in love with Jack Antonoff. He's Bleachers and he's gorgeous. 2 facts. Jack Hunt, if you ever fancy a date, hit me up, pet. Oh, I like that. I'm assuming this person is British. Thank you. Tweet number 2. The definition of yellow. Jack Antonoff. The definition of sunshine. Jack Antonoff's smile. At Jack Antonoff, you're sunshine and we love you so much. I hope you're having an amazing day. I don't get it. The definition of yellow? Is this some like lingo that I don't understand? I would call this barely thirsty. Very sweet, barely thirsty. I don't spend a lot of time online, so stuff I hear about is so egregiously thirsty and offensive that these are kind of just washing over me as just compliments. All right, I'm moving on. Number 3. Jack Antonoff's arms are the most beautiful limbs to grace this earth. Very nice. Still not that thirsty. 4. I could seriously look at Jack Antonoff's stubble for 18 years and still want to stare at it longer. I assume you guys are going to build to it. Tweet number 5. I want to kiss the brain of Jack Antonoff. Can I just say that I really dislike saying my name over and over and over again? It's a very weird feeling. Okay, I want to kiss the brain of Jack Antonoff because he's a genius at making / composing music. Very sweet. I was told to enjoy the sweet ones while they last. Knowing the internet, there's probably going to be some like, okay, moving on. Jack Antonoff and a cutoff is my sexuality. I appreciate that. But you got to feel good, especially when you play music, especially when you write music. You have to like feel yourself in some ways. I feel good in a tank top. I feel like my dad in the 80s. Jack Antonoff is my type. He's like the hot, nerdy with big type of a guy. I thought I would either say big energy or a big, but we can't know what this person's thinking. He's such an old soul, but his presence smells like an addictive aroma. Oh my God, hi. I'll tell you why I really like this tweet. You don't often see someone, referencing the wholesome quality of an old soul and a big, and I think that's cool because I think that's kind of real. Like, I think people either like lean so overly sexual or like so sincere. And it's like, I like someone who is kind of being pretty real. Like, I want an old soul who also has a big. So this person, I think, is the first one that really gets my vote. Next one. Currently grounded for writing, quote, if lost, please return to Jack Antonoff and all my underwear. Makes sense to, well, the underwear that's being dropped off at my house. Open and shut case of this tweet. Number 9. Jack Antonoff could ask me to eat glass and I would say yes and thank him for the opportunity. Hot. Not hot. Number 10. The way I would let Jack Antonoff crush me like a roach. I've been there. I've had a crush from a distance and just been like, crush me like a roach. I like this one. I like this one a lot. I could imagine being with this person. Number 11. Profession. A hole for Jack Antonoff, sir. Check mark. I'll say this, that when the lingo is like too like sort of like culturally specific, it's less shocking or thirsty to me. If I read that tweet in like 2012, I would be like, holy, that is one of the filthiest things I've ever read. But it's just become so commonplace, kind of the way like choke me had, like, sometimes if you just happen to go on Twitter, it's just, we've reached a point culturally where like, the concept of being a hole for someone, choking someone or something like that is just so in the lingo that it's less shocking than the person who called me an old soul. My boyfriend and I want to have a threesome with Jack Antonoff. Someone let him know. Consider me served. I decline, but I respect actually, I don't know. I can't know. I like to be with one person typically, and it's just a personal preference. I don't like more than one person around for anything really. But you and your boyfriend seem to have a really nice, as long as he's in on this tweet, then I think that's really great for you guys. I would let Jack Antonoff suffocate me with his legs. Well, this is interesting. I don't like the image. Yeah, I don't like this one. I'm moving on. I would let Jack Antonoff know that anytime he feels like filling a hole, spelled with the big 0 instead of the little o, or 2, I'll be waiting with open arms, open legs, and an open mouth to thank him for his service. There's a lot of layers to this one. Just like the person who called me an old soul in the big tweet, the imagery of open arms is so wholesome. And then thanking me for my service feels sort of wholesome and American, and obviously, verbiage that we use for the troops. What I'm noticing with some of these thirsty tweets is a real play back and forth between like hyper wholesome and hyper filthy. To throw in there that I could, fill this HOLE, etc., and that the invitation is being waited on with open arms, and then to thank one for their service is regal. Anyway, I would let Jack Antonoff put it in the butt. I love Lady Gaga. I think she's a really interesting artist. This is by far my favorite one. I think this is the kind of tweet that's worth signing on for. One time someone tweeted at me, my favorite thing I've ever seen, and it made me feel like it was worth it to go online here and there. You bear a great Russian name, but act as a pervert and a Jew, comma. Who are you? Question mark. And I just think it's like a brilliant composition. Tweets, no different than poems, essays, or novels need to be judged within their mediums. This tweet that I'm reading right here has a similar energy. It almost touches the broadness of the internet, the randomness of life, and the human brain of just being able to move and vacillate so quickly between things. I feel more connected to this tweet than any of the other ones I've read, just in terms of the flow of information. I got two more. I would suck the sweat off Jack Antonoff's ballsack. A little clinical for me. It's interesting the things you do and don't want from the internet, because this is too clinical, this feels too conversational. But then if it feels too internet, it feels too performative. You know, all the use of holes and choking is a little too internet, but this is a little too, I don't know, tell your therapist. Here we go. Damn, Jack Antonoff, come produce this. It's spelled with a B. Is this slang? Bussy? Can you guys tell me about this slang? I don't like it. Oh, it's a boy pussy. Oh, I haven't heard this. I do like it. Interesting. Okay, so damn, Jack Antonoff, come produce this bussy. I like that it brings the work that means a lot to me into the equation. I feel well-liked and seen sexually. I like this one because I think this is sort of sitting right in the middle of what I was hoping for, right? It's not too clinical, like, I would suck so-and-so's, and it's not too internet, like, like, come fill these holes, daddy, or whatever. My album is out. Usually I mention people listening to it and sort of going on that journey, but I think this audience that I've been speaking to through these tweets might be on a different journey, which I'm also hip to. You could spend time with the album, or we could spend more time in this, I guess, unconscious fantasy conversation that's happening. And yeah, thank you for your service.